Chapter 1. The Rusted Relic. I was never supposed to meet her. I was just a mechanic. Well, officially I was Terran engineering technician second class, but really I worked in the scrapyards of orbiting outpost station Crane 12, repairing whatever the galactic patrol dragged in. Old war machines, crash shuttles, alien satellite wreckage. If it was metal, I probably patched it. Most people avoided junk sectors. They said it was cursed. Me? I felt more comfortable around broken things than around actual people. On the day everything changed, I was rewiring a mass drive coil, humming badly, when the hangar doors shook. A ship I'd never seen before was dragged in, accompanied by 5 armored guards and a single cloaked woman. And the ship wasn't the important part. Floating beside it was a battle armor frame, upright, suspended by gravity clamps. The plates were pitch black, veined with glowing violet circuits. The style was ancient, nothing like current tech, and the cloaked woman, dignified, tall, radiating authority. She lifted her hood. Alien features, silver eyes, dark blue skin, royal facial markings. I recognized her instantly. Queen Aravel of the Velant Dominion, the most feared monarch on the outer spiral. I almost dropped my wrench. She examined me with unnerving calm. You are the Terran engineer. I stuttered. Yes, technically. This armor, she said, touching the relic reverently, is a sacred inheritance of my lineage. It has been damaged. You will restore it. I swallowed. Me? Yes. Only Terrans still understand metallurgic nanofusion. That was news to me, but apparently humanity's old tech was good for something. I'll try, I said nervously. She gazed directly into me. Do not try. Succeed. Chapter 2. The task that should have been impossible. The armor was beyond old. Its plates were curved elegantly, but half-cracked, pitted, and scarred. Glowing channels were dead or flickering. Most of all, the internal nanite lattice was completely unresponsive. It felt like trying to revive a fossil. Queen Aravel, I asked cautiously, where did this come from? Her expression turned distant. This suit was forged when my people were still warriors. Before diplomacy. Before empire. I could feel history humming through it. And you want it combat ready. I asked. No, she said quietly. I need it awakened. That was not ominous at all. I spent 3 sleepless days scanning, repairing microscopic filaments, rewiring neural circuits. The internal AI core was dead but salvageable. Finally, after 72 hours, I connected a power feed. Purple energy crawled across the armor like lightning veins. The entire hangar vibrated, and inside my skull, I heard a voice. User detected. Identity imprint required. Oh no. Before I could disconnect, tender light wrapped my wrist, warm, electric, sentient. My veins burned violet. Aravel shouted, lunging forward, but too late. Identity imprint complete. The armor spoke aloud. Chosen pilot confirmed. Aravel froze. Her guard went rigid. I blinked. What just? The queen stared at me with shock bordering on fury. You bonded with it. I didn't mean to. That armor only accepts Velant royal bloodlines. I panicked. I am very sure I'm not royalty. Her voice dropped whisper low. And yet it chose you. Chapter 3. The Announcement. An Imperial warship came for us. Aravel's palace wasn't a classical castle, more like sweeping crystal towers over a gleaming ocean world. When we arrived, the entire court lined the landing platform. Nobles, priests, generals, staring at me, a common mechanic from Earth. Aravel stepped forward, commanding silence. Citizens of Velant, she projected, a miracle has occurred. Our ancestral battle armor has awakened and has chosen a pilot beyond our bloodlines. A collective gasp passed through the crowd. Someone shouted, "Impossible!" Another, "Sacrilege!" Aravel raised her hand. "Silence! The armor's choice is binding." And then she did something terrifying. She placed her hand on my shoulder. With this awakening, tradition is fulfilled. The pilot is recognized as consort by Velanth ancient decree. Consort. I blinked hard. That means what I think it means. She whispered, "Yes, you are now my chosen groom." My brain shut down for a full 10 seconds. "Queen Aravel, with respect," I whispered urgently. "I'm a mechanic, a nobody. I can't." She leaned in, voice soft but fierce. "I don't care what you were. You are what the armor decided. And if you do not accept, both of us may die." Now that was important information she should have led with. Chapter 4, Wedding Preparations and Political Riots. The palace erupted in chaos. Court factions argued day and night. "He is unworthy," yelled nobles. "He is alien," shouted priests. "He is charming," Aravel said once, ignoring gasps. The High Chancellor confronted her. "The throne requires a Velanth heir. This human cannot fulfill the binding marriage rite." Aravel's silver eyes locked onto his. "He awakened the royal armor. His worth is not your concern." Later, in her private chambers, she confessed the truth. "My reign hangs by threads," she said quietly, almost painfully. "Many want me dethroned. Others want war." War with who? "Everyone," she sighed. Her people were tired of peace. They wanted conquest back. They wanted the old warrior queens. So they pressured her constantly. And the armor bond? It proved legitimacy, stability, ancient tradition. A royal weapon awakened confirmed her right to rule, which meant I was her only political lifeline. "So," I said gently, "your entire empire thinks we're getting married." "Yes," she deadpanned. I sighed. "Well, that's awkward." Her lips twitched slightly, the faintest smile. "You take this remarkably well for a Terran." "No," I corrected. "I am panicking internally." Chapter 5, The First Training. The armor waited in a ceremonial chamber, surrounded by purple fire pillars. It pulsed softly as I entered. Aravel watched expectantly. "Go on," she said. I approached nervously. "Hi, armor. Please don't eat me." The armor opened like a blooming flower, plates folding aside. I stepped inside. It sealed over me, like liquid metal hugging muscle and bone. Power flooded through my senses. I could see every energy signature, every molecule, every heartbeat in the room. I heard Aravel whisper, "By the stars." The armor spoke inside my mind. Pilot recognized. Combat systems initializing. Suddenly holographic enemies materialized. Ancient Velanth war beasts. Plasma claws extended. Oh no. Blades unfolded from my arms instinctively. Purple nanite energy became curved weapons. Training engaged on its own. I moved faster than thought, dodging, slicing, striking. It wasn't me moving. It was the armor controlling my nerves. I wasn't pilot. I was passenger. When the final hologram fell, Aravel approached breathlessly. Legend said the armor fought like a god, but I never imagined. I swallowed, trembling. That thing nearly erased me. "No," she said gently, touching my armored cheek. "It preserved you. That's what it was designed to do." I stared. Her touch was warm, her expression unexpectedly soft. But the palace doors burst open, guards falling to their knees. "Your Majesty," they shouted. "Rebel fleet incoming." Aravel went cold. "They intend to overthrow me tonight." Chapter 6, The Civil War Begins. Veland skies turned red with incoming warships. The rebel Admiral Vorik broadcasted a message planet-wide. People of Veland, your queen has violated bloodlines, betrayed our ancestors, and chosen a Terran outsider. We reclaim our warrior heritage by force. Cities panicked. Aravel clenched her fists. They waited for this. They hoped the armor would reject me. They've been preparing to strike for years. Why me? I whispered. Why now? Her voice trembled. Because the armor marks you as my equal. If I stand beside you, I am legitimate. If they kill you, I am powerless. So their plan was simple. Kill the groom, dethrone the queen, destroy peace. I looked out at the burning skyline. This wasn't some ancient relic anymore. It was war. Get in the armor, she ordered. I nodded. Chapter 7, The Battle of the Sky Thrones. The armor launched into the air, slamming through palace shields. My senses stretched miles. I could feel heat signatures inside rebel ships. I could predict trajectories before they fired. Blinding plasma barrages lit up the heavens. The armor moved like dancing lightning, cutting through hulls, blocking missiles, shielding civilian towers. But there were thousands, 10,000 rebel cruisers. Aravel, I cried over comms, we're losing ground. We expected this, she answered grimly. But the people must see you fight for them. Me? For an entire empire? I wasn't ready for any of this. But I saw families hiding, children crying, elders clutching one another as explosions shook their world. Something inside me shifted. I wasn't fighting for a throne. I was fighting for lives. So I dove into the heart of the rebel dreadnought, cutting straight through armored decks, shredding weapons. Suddenly, silence. Then the rebel fleet began retreating. The people cheered. Aravel whispered over comms. You may have just saved my entire civilization. Chapter 8, The Binding Ceremony. The council demanded traditional sealing of consort status, ancient vows under starlight. The palace gardens became a sea of firefly lanterns. The entire empire watched. I stood beside Aravel, wearing ceremonial silver plates instead of armor. A priestess recited archaic verses. By ancient law, the armor chooses a consort, and the queen accepts destiny. Aravel touched my hands, cool and elegant. I whispered, I don't know how to be a royal husband. She replied gently, then be yourself. I felt something in my chest tighten. Not fear, something far stranger. At the vow's climax, the priestess declared, the queen of Veland acknowledges her chosen. Aravel spoke last, voice shaking slightly. I accept this human as consort, in honor, in alliance, in destiny. She glanced at me, vulnerable. My voice cracked softly. I accept. A wave of violet energy wrapped around us. The bond was done. Chapter 9, The Truth Behind the Armor. Later, in quiet chambers overlooking starlit oceans, Aravel removed her royal mantle. Sit, she said softly. She rarely used soft tones. The armor, she hesitated, was built by my ancestor consorts, not Pew Veland. My eyes widened. You mean your ancient queens married outsiders? She nodded. Veland bloodlines were strengthened by alliances. We were never meant to be isolated, never meant to wage endless war. She took a slow breath. But history was rewritten. War factions erase the truth. They worship warrior purity and demand isolation. They want conquest instead of connection. So the armor accepted me because you represent the original Veland ideal, she breathed. Unity, not blood supremacy. She smiled, genuine and heartbreakingly human. You're not just my political savior. You are proof of who we truly were. I swallowed hard. Her hand brushed mine, tentative. I didn't pull away. Chapter 10. The War They Didn't Expect. Rebellion didn't die with one battle. Months passed. Assassin attempts. Political sabotage. Alien mercenaries. Attempt to destroy the armor. Every attack only unified citizens around us. Aravel's calm determination steeled the Empire. And me? I learned how to rule, not through orders but empathy. We visited devastated cities, rebuilt homes, spoke to grieving families. I repaired farms destroyed by war drones. She negotiated with former rebels to rebuild trust. Little by little, the Empire stabilized. But one night Aravel stood alone on the balcony, gazing at stars. "They will come again," she murmured. "The Admiral escaped with half the fleet. He seeks allies. Next time, he will bring an armada far greater." "So we prepare," I replied. She nodded. "And we do it together." I hesitated. Then I took her hand. She squeezed back. Chapter 11. The Confession. One evening, in her private garden under violet moonlight, Aravel removed her royal crown and simply breathed. "I'm tired," she confessed. "Of war?" "Of being queen." She stared at the starlight reflecting on water. "You have become part of this world far more than you realize." I sat beside her on the polished marble step. "I never asked for this," I whispered, "but I'm not leaving." She looked at me sharply, like that mattered more than any vow. Then she leaned closer. "For the first time," she said softly, "I feel less alone." I swallowed. "I'm glad." A moment of silence passed between us, full of unspoken things. Then she kissed me, lightly, carefully, like she wasn't sure it was allowed. It was. Chapter 12. The Return of Vorik. 1 year later. Alarms. Every tower blazed crimson. Massive warp signatures erupted on the horizon. Thousands, no, millions of ships. Admiral Vorik's fleet, now allied with 7 war empires. His broadcast echoed across space. "Velant has fallen weak. Your human corruption ends tonight." Aravel raised her chin. "This time, we fight for peace. For unity. For a future." I entered the armor. It pulsed around me like a second heartbeat. "Ready?" Aravel whispered. "Always." Space tore open in explosions of cosmic fire. This was no longer civil war. This was galaxy-scale annihilation. The armor's ancient AI spoke again. "Legacy protocol. Consort ascension. Unlock." "Oh boy." "Aravel," I called. "Does that mean what I think?" "Yes," she said, eyes shimmering. "You were never just pilot. You were meant to become the armor's symbiotic co-sovereign." "Symbiotic?" She smiled faintly. "Equal ruler." The armor asked once more. "Ascension?" I didn't hesitate. "Yes." The galaxy lit with violet radiance. Chapter 13. Ascension. The armor fused deeper, not metal into flesh, but spirit into soul. I saw memories of ancient queens, ancient consorts, building a peaceful empire from nothing, fighting against isolationism, fighting old warlords, fighting hatred. Unity wasn't weakness. It was origin. And suddenly, I wasn't afraid. I unleashed the armor's full power. The galaxy shook. Armadas split apart. Weapons melted under violet stormfire. Vorik screamed orders. It didn't matter. Nothing could stop ancient unity resurrected. But the armor whispered one final requirement. One choice remains, mercy or utter annihilation. I saw rebels begging, families trapped aboard enemy ships, innocents forced into Vorik's army. I chose mercy. Energy chains disable fleets instead of destroying them, shutting down weapons, powering shields around escape pods, preserving life. Aravel saw, and her eyes filled with something new. Not awe, love. Chapter 14. Aftermath and Revelation. Vorik was captured, not executed. Aravel decreed rehabilitation, not vengeance. It is time we remembered humanity, she declared to the galaxy, not inherited hatred. Nations began peace talks. Armies began disarmament. Old enemies began cooperation. Even Vorik's followers realized something, that Velantha's strength was compassion, not conquest. And the galaxy slowly changed. Chapter 15. The Real Ending. Years later, peace remained. Cities thrived. Children of every species learned together in unified academies. And I became co-ruler, not by decree, but by choice. Aravel and I ruled side by side, partners, equals, lovers. Our wedding, our real wedding, was held without politics. Only close friends. She wore traditional silver silk. I wore simple Terran suit cloth. When she held my hands and whispered vows this time, her voice trembled not with duty, but affection. And as we kissed beneath violet lanterns, crowds cheered, not because tradition said so, but because they believed in us. Later, she whispered against my shoulder, "You didn't just restore my armor." I smiled softly. "I know." She touched her forehead to mine. "You restored my people." And I whispered back, "You restored me." The end.